The last lift down. Blackridge Ski Resort did not appear on most maps. It existed in a fold of the mountains where weather behaved strangely and compasses drifted several degrees off true north. Snow fell heavier here, thicker, as if the sky itself wanted to bury the place. Locals avoided the road leading up the mountain, claiming it went longer than it should, stretching endlessly through fog and pine. Yet Blackridge advertised aggressively. Unspoiled slopes, pure silence, a mountain untouched. Ethan Cole booked his stay during a sleepless night, drawn to the promise of isolation. He told himself he needed quiet, distance, somewhere high enough that the world couldn't reach him. He didn't realize the mountain had already noticed him. The road narrowed as Ethan climbed. Snowbanks rose like walls, swallowing guardrails, signs, even trees. His GPS lost signal an hour before he arrived, freezing on a single instruction: continue straight. When Blackridge finally emerged from the snowstorm, it felt wrong. The lodge was enormous, brutalist concrete reinforced with dark timber, its shape angular and defensive, like a bunker built to withstand something violent. The lights were on, but dim, sickly yellow, as though the building itself was conserving energy. The parking lot held only 7 cars. Peak season, fully booked. Inside, the warmth was oppressive rather than comforting. The air smelled old, decades of wet wool, mildew, rust, and something beneath it all, something organic and sour. Behind the front desk stood a man who looked unfinished. His skin was pale and translucent, veins faintly visible beneath. His eyes were too large, too still, as if blinking were optional. His name tag read Marcus, though the lettering had been scratched and rewritten several times. "You made it," Marcus said. It wasn't a greeting. "How did you know my name?" Ethan asked. Marcus smiled slowly. "We always do." Ethan's room was clean, but unsettlingly bare. No artwork, no welcome pamphlet, just a bed, a desk, and a large window overlooking the mountain. The glass vibrated faintly, not from wind, from something rhythmic. Outside, the slopes stretched endlessly upward, illuminated by floodlights. Chairlifts moved even though no one was riding them. Their empty seats swung gently, creaking in unison. That night, Ethan dreamed of snow filling his lungs. He woke choking, clawing at his throat, convinced he could feel ice crystals melting inside his chest. On his window, from the outside, a handprint slowly faded. Morning brought no comfort. The guests at breakfast sat far apart, eating in silence. Their faces were gaunt, eyes ringed with dark circles. Some wore ski gear despite never leaving the lodge. Ethan tried speaking to a couple across the room. They stared at him blankly. Then the man leaned forward and whispered, "What day do you think it is?" Before Ethan could answer, the woman gripped her partner's wrist hard enough to draw blood. "He's not ready," she hissed. Ski patrol was conspicuously absent. So were trail maps. When Ethan asked Marcus for one, the man shook his head. The mountain doesn't like labels. The snow felt wrong beneath Ethan's skis. Too soft, too deep,
like powder layered over something hollow. As he descended his first run, the world grew unnaturally quiet. No wind, no birds, even the sound of his own skis seemed muted, swallowed instantly. Halfway down, he noticed tracks beside his own, barefoot tracks. They ran parallel to him for several seconds before veering sharply uphill, straight up a steep incline no human could climb. Ethan didn't stop skiing until his legs burned. At the bottom, the lift operator avoided his eyes. "If you fall," the man said quietly, "don't let the snow cover your face." The bells began that evening. At first, they sounded distant, soft chimes drifting through the fog. Ethan assumed it was wind moving through metal somewhere on the mountain. But the rhythm was deliberate, measured, closer each time he heard it. That night, the bells came from the hallway outside his room. He pressed his ear to the door, heart hammering. The sound moved slowly, stopping at each door, lingering, testing. When it reached his room, it stopped completely. A voice whispered through the wood, "Still warm." On the third day, the fog swallowed the upper slopes entirely. Visibility dropped to arm's length. The trail markers changed again, replaced by crude wooden signs half buried in snow. They pointed only one direction, up. The abandoned lodge emerged suddenly, looming like a corpse exhumed by the storm. Its doors were chained shut, but the chains hung loose, rusted through. Inside, the cold was absolute. The photographs lining the walls were worse than Ethan remembered. The scratched-out faces had been carved deep, gouged violently, as if whoever defaced them was trying to erase something that wouldn't die. One photograph remained untouched. It showed a group of skiers smiling at the camera. Ethan was among them. Dated 1989. He staggered back. The map in the center of the room pulsed faintly, veins of red ink spreading outward from a jagged leak near the summit. The mouth was no longer just a label. It was open. "You're standing on it." The voice came from behind him. The ski patrol officer stepped from the shadows, his uniform torn, his body unnaturally thin. "This resort wasn't built on the mountain," he said. "It was built for it." He explained in fragments. Avalanches that never stopped, missing hikers, entire rescue teams swallowed without trace. Something beneath the rock had been uncovered during early mining operations, a vast cavity that breathed warm air and caused snow to melt upward instead of down. The mountain was alive and hungry. "It learned how to call us," the officer whispered. "Bells, lifts, trails that go up instead of down." "What does it eat?" Ethan asked. The officer smiled without humor. "People who want to escape." When the power failed that night, panic finally broke the silence. Guests screamed. Emergency lights cast long, distorted shadows across the lobby. Marcus stood motionless, watching them. "There is one lift still operational," he announced, "but it only goes one way, up." Ethan volunteered before he understood why. Claire followed him, her hands shaking uncontrollably. A young man joined them, already crying. The lift carried them into darkness.
Below, the forest moved again, dozens of shapes dragging themselves through snow, their limbs broken, mouths open in frozen screams. Old guests, old staff, decades of them. Above, the bells rang louder than ever. The fog parted, the mountains split. The mouth opened wide, revealing layers of bone, broken skis, helmets fused into flesh, faces still screaming inside the rock. The lift did not stop. It was never meant to. Blackridge Ski Resort is officially listed as permanently closed. Satellite images show no structure where it once stood, only smooth, untouched snow. But climbers still report hearing chairlifts at night, still report bells, still find fresh tracks leading uphill, and sometimes, deep in the fog, they swear they hear someone breathing beneath the mountain, slow, satisfied, and waiting for the next guest to arrive.